Hello, everyone, and welcome to our virtual program today. We are so excited that we're going to have the opportunity to go live to the Brooklyn Navy Yard to meet with Michael Bednark, who's the founder of Bednark Studio, which is a custom design and fabrication company. And we're going to have the opportunity to learn about the work they do in retail environments, experiential marketing, and also in architectural millwork. We'll have the opportunity to learn about their processes and their manufacturing capabilities using all different kinds of materials, from wood to plastic to metal to print, and even integrated lighting. So we're so excited to have everybody here today. Before we go out to the Brooklyn Navy Yard, to Michael and also to my colleague, Andrew Gustafson, I would just like to introduce myself. My name is Cindy, and I will be your conduit to Andrew and Michael, who are going to be on the ground. Amanda is my other colleague who is here behind the scenes. She's in the chat, and she will also be making sure that your questions and comments are passed along so that we can share those and make this as interactive as possible. I would like to introduce my colleague, Andrew, who is out at the Brooklyn Navy Yard at Building 28, where he's going to give us a little bit of an introduction to where he is and a bit more context. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Cindy. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah, so I'm here in Bednark space. Maybe you can see the sign over my shoulder in Building 28. And so this is a former machine shop of the Brooklyn Navy Yard, former boiler shop. And it's just so exciting to see how this space has been transformed. You know, we've been working at the Navy Yard now for 13 years. And Cindy and I both remember what this building used to look like, you know, when it was just basically a rusted hulk of a building. And to see it transformed and to see all the amazing stuff going on here is going to be really fun. And it's just a really inspiring and incredible story. So how today's program is going to work, like Cindy said, is we're going to kick things over to Michael in just a second, who's going to share about the business and some of their projects. And then he and I are going to take a walk around the space so you can see really some of their incredible capabilities that they have here. I'm just going to swing around here so you can see the full length of the space. So we just came in the main door here, and you can see here. So we'll get to explore this a little bit later on. But Michael, if you're all ready, we can turn it over to you so you can introduce yourself and tell us all about the business.
So can everyone see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so Bednark Studio, we moved to the Brooklyn Navy Yard in 2019. We are part of a larger complex that houses New Lab as well as Cry Precision. We're founded in 2005. We actually started not too far down the street here on 470 Flushing Avenue in 2005. We started in the set design and set building world, and we've then moved on as things evolved and changed. We started working heavily in events and experiential marketing. And in the last 8 years, we've gotten into retail environments and architectural millwork. We are a full service fabrication company that's fully vertically integrated. We can basically build anything that's needed. That just go away. We can basically build anything we need here in our building. We have a metal shop, a wood shop, a CNC shop. We have 3D printers, an engineering department, design department, as well as project management. So basically, our goal is to control every part of a build here in the shop. This eliminates subcontractors. It zeroes out execution risk. It elevates transparency with our clients. We try to find cost efficiencies as well, and we can always deliver on time. We basically try to be state of the art and have the most advanced equipment and try to find the best techniques to deliver on some of the most challenging designs across the architectural millwork, retail, and experiential marketing. So you can sort of see here how a job comes in. We have from concept to then we develop it in here and develop the how we're going to build it here. And then we bring in raw materials, create CNC files, figure out how we're going to cut it, And then our team of welders, mill workers, cabinet makers, and carpenters assemble it. And then once it's assembled, it goes into finishing and then out to our delivery and installation team. This is sort of our circle of how we do projects. So a client will come to us either with a full architectural scale packet, or they'll have a napkin sketch or a magazine tear or a Pinterest board. From there, our project management team will intake it. They will review what the client wants, what materials they want to use, and then we'll create an approach to how we're going to make it. Based on that approach, we'll come up with an estimate. And once the estimate's approved, it goes into our design and engineering team. They're using SolidWorks, Rhino to draw things in 3D and figure out how we're going to really make it. In that process, we try to look at the build in several different ways and make sure we're doing it in the most efficient way to make it versus like super complicated, or we just want to make sure it's simple as possible to make. From there, they'll create CNC files and go out to our CNC machines. It'll either be cut from wood, metal, or plastic. And then once all the parts are cut, they'll go into our assembly teams and they'll get put together. Basically, the 2D parts become the 3D objects. Once they're all assembled, they go to our finishing team where they'll either get painted or faux finished. And then out to our logistics team who packs it up and puts it on a truck or puts it in crates and then puts it on a truck. Here are a few case studies we can see just to understand the scope of work we do and our execution of it. Balenciaga, we've been working with them for about 3 years, and we develop a lot of custom finishes for them in stone, paints, as well as metal. This is their flagship store that's on 5th Avenue. And the way we really gain trust with them is we work to develop a bunch of specialty finishes that were really unique to their store. And by doing that, we were able to lock in a client for a long time and deliver several exciting projects for them. This is a store in Toronto that we delivered last year in the middle of the pandemic. It sort of showcases a lot of the process we handle in-house here. There's glass, there's fabric wrap drawers, automotive painted millwork, as well as integrated lighting and metal fixtures as well. Nike has been an excellent partner for us for the last 7 years. Their work is very immersive and very cross. It's anywhere from tech to lighting to metalwork. We really are working with all different mediums all the time with them. Right now, we're doing a lot of recycled materials in their store builds. This is the loom we built for the opening of House Innovation. This has automation, metal finishing, integrated LED, different wood paneling, as well as printing. This is another, fun execution for Nike with tons of LED, metal, lots of exposed cables to make it really feel like an exciting experience. This project with Nike was interesting because they don't generally use wood in their builds, or they don't focus on wood, but knowing that we had a millwork team that could deliver really high-end wood finishing, they ended up designing some wood into this process. So that was sort of a fun collaboration with us. This image to me looks like a rendering. I often talk to our team about how the rendering or the drawings are a contract with our clients. We want to make sure it looks like they're rendering. So this one I think is a really good example of that. It also just has a breadth of our capabilities in there. We did all the printing, all the LED tickers, all the metal work, all the plastics work, the glass work, everything's done here.
Michael, I have a question for you, which is for people that are not familiar with experiential marketing. Like, what exactly is that?
Experiential marketing has been around for about 10 years, I'd say. And it's basically like connecting people with brands in sort of in real life. So basically at the end, when the pandemic hit, experiential marketing went away. It was a big part of our business. But it's basically any sort of activation you might see, or it's like going to Coachella and there's like the Smirnoff house. That's experiential marketing. It's like trying to connect you with the brand through an experience that, strengthens the brand with you. So mobile marketing tours are one of those things. It's anything where you're like in real life. It's like basically like like a convention booth thing, but like on steroids in one time. It could be anywhere from like an insane ice sculpture in Bryant Park to you know, taking over the De Gaulle greenhouse here, and it's like it's basically, it could be a haunted house, but it's like branded. So,
I mean, how did you get into?
we just met producers early on in that and sort of grew with them. So it went from, usually it was mostly like liquor brands, so it was like bars and DJ booths, till like now it's like full on sort of immersive technology experiences. So you might have like an RFID when you get there, and then you get your own sort of thing. It's like maybe like, do you know Sleep No More?
Yeah, sure.
It would be an experience, but it's not as much marketing, right? You're not seeing like Stola Shania everywhere, but it's an immersive experience that, you know, gets you more connected to the brand.
Yeah, you're creating memorable experiences, right?
Memorable
That leave impressions on people.
Exactly. It's a lot of like the photo moments, the Instagram moments, those things that come up. That's like the main focus of a lot of these activations.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Yeah. I will actually see some experiential stuff here in a minute. Majuri, high-end delivery for jewelry brands, so spray finishes, metal finishes. We did about, I think, 4 or 5 stores with them. And then here's experiential marketing. So one of them was the Samsung Olympics Pavilion that we worked on with 2x4 in 2018. This was in Pyeongchang, South Korea. It was basically a history wall that talked about how the phone developed, the Samsung phone from start to now, how it changed, what materials they use. It told the whole story about their phone. This is a 25-foot suitcase for Rimowa. It was a collaboration with Alex Israel. This was installed in LA. But yeah, massive suitcase and on a street corner where people can go in and check it out and see the new suitcase. So it creates like a wow factor, creates a buzz, and also gives like an in real life experience. St. Germain, this is another experiential marketing. 20,000 pound hanging garden in Greenpoint in a warehouse. So we had to figure out if the warehouse could even hold the garden. How do we make it? It's all living flowers. How do they live for 4 days? This was a super huge success for us, and definitely like garnered a lot of buzz.
And this is soup to nuts, right? So you're doing everything from the design all the way through to the installation.
So this one we worked with a company called The Gathering. They do a lot of experiential marketing design work, but we collaborate with them. Like this was all the grass was from I had done a project when I first out of college where we used the wheatgrass for a TV commercial. And what I learned when we had it like in the studio for 3 days, it grew like 4 inches. And I was like, this is so amazing. So then we just covered this whole thing with wheatgrass. And then I knew over the 4 days, it would keep growing, keep growing, keep growing. So it has this really rapid growth. So it looks really beautiful over the time. Whereas like if you just brought in sod just gonna look like old sod for 4 days. So.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, no, it was a super awesome experience. Here's something more simple. This is just this is for Airbnb. They went public and then they offered one lucky couple to spend the night in Times Square last 2020 into 21. And then virtually Mariah Carey came in and was like your host for the night. And this is on the top of the NASDAQ in Times Square. Pier 17, this is their rooftop dining that they pivoted to in 2020. So we did all the outdoor cabin seating for them, and then we just changed it over for spring and summer now. And then in about 2014, I realized that we had a lot of our focus was in experiential marketing and events, and I was afraid that if those ever went away, we wouldn't have anything else. So I wanted to build up a millwork team, and I knew that was going to take me quite a long time to get all the right people together in order to really deliver a high-end product. And now this has been running our shop through whole COVID and out of COVID because of all the in real life stuff going away. This was a project we did with Michael Chang. Michael K. Chen Architects, and it's a just a, a residential apartment, white cerused oak throughout and coffered panels. It's a classic New York story of like, how do you get stuff in the building, dealing with supers or just elevators that aren't big enough. But it came out really beautiful. It was in El Decor in January. This is a New York Times featured apartment we did with Gramercy Design. Lots of walnut millwork, custom cabinetry, custom kitchen. This is a residence in New Jersey with tons of different finishes, integrating marble and lacquer sprays and cerused oaks. It was a really rewarding but challenging project. This is one of our first millwork jobs. This is for Jimmy Fallon for his apartment in Gramercy. Very different, varied, everything varied from room to room to room. But they came to us because they knew we were sort of open to doing lots of different things in one space. This is now for sale for, I think, 16 million, if anyone's looking.
Oh, wow.
And then back to experiential marketing, like we do a lot of mobile events. So this is we built a custom RV for Kind Body so they could sort of do outreach throughout the city. And I think it's in LA now. They sort of use it to test markets and see what's out there. This is a project we did with Subaru and Powder. Powder owns about 6 or 7 mountains across the country, and they wanted to get people out of their main sort of structures during COVID and have a place to go get snacks and coffee and stuff like that. So we built 5 custom trailers for them. They went to like Snowbird and Killington and Copper Mountain. These are interesting because they're at high altitude, so they have to be rated for like 6 feet of snow on top of them and like 120-mile-an-hour wind speed. So those are all things that we work with our clients to make sure that they're up to code and up to spec. This is a coffee bar we built for Sheraton Hotels. It's a modified Airstream. It's going to be down in Phoenix at one of their hotels there. But what we offer to our clients is like, they don't need to go to the Airstream vendor and then to a millworker and then to like a mobile vehicle manufacturer. We can do that all here. So it really cuts out a lot of communication and creates a lot of efficiencies by us doing it all here. Here's the Kind Body. This was a smaller Kind Body bus we did. This was a gelato truck that we modified for MGM, their shoe company. So we found this old truck out in Detroit and totally renovated it, and it's still on the road.
It's so sweet. I really love that.
Now I'll wrap it up there. There's like, we do like a lot of other things. Like these are seating kits. So like clients want to like, reach out to their different clients that can't come into the store. So they send out these little kits for them to have like, different experiences and still remember the brands.
Michael, what prepares you? I mean, what in your own background did you always know that you wanted to start your own company? Like, how did you get into this?
I got into it. Well, I mean, I grew up with, my father was a woodworker. We always had a wood shop in our backyard. My dad was still does. He owns a baseball bat manufacturer. So he makes wooden baseball bats. So in my high school and during the summer, I was making wood baseball bats, but I was really in love with theater and set design. So I went to school for set design, but was still building all my sets and everything like that. And I did the set design thing for about 5 years, but realized I really had an expertise and like, it came to me sort of easily to figure out how to build something or how it should be executed. So I sort of shifted past that way and realized I could just add more value to clients by, figuring out how to make stuff for them. And it sort of just grew completely organically over the last 12, 15 years. And then obviously the pandemic sort of threw a lot of wrenches in it, and we're still trying to work our way out of that. Like I said, most of our business was experiential marketing, but we've put a really heavy emphasis on building up our millwork and architectural millwork team, and we're seeing a lot of traction there. Right now we're building several stores for Balenciaga. We're working with Peloton on some projects, and we have a few other things I can't talk about, but we're seeing a lot of growth in our millwork, and it's a very exciting time. It's a new challenge for us. And it's exciting to build something that's going to be permanently in a space for a long time that a lot more people can experience versus an event where it's, maybe one night, maybe it's just 4 hours, or maybe it's a month. But not everyone gets to see the work that you put into it and how hard it is getting it there.
Yeah, I mean, the breadth and scope of the projects that you've done, it's just it's incredible, and really so many of these projects are very imaginative, and you somehow bring them to life. I have a question just out of curiosity. Did you
Yeah.
get to stay on top of the roof in Times Square?
Not me. Not me. I wish. I don't think my wife or my kids would let.
So Andrew is there with
No,
you.
I mean, that's the thing. It's sort of like, yeah. Can I walk over there? Can I?
Yeah, so Andrew was there with you, and we're going to get a tour of your space.
Oh, I look good. All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, sounds
Okay,
great.
so if you can imagine, 2 years ago, this was a completely empty building. There was no walls. It was just a mezzanine, no lighting, basically completely empty. They used it as an event space mostly. So we've spent a year and a half building out the space, putting in electric, putting in plumbing, building out offices, storage areas. We have spray booths and different things here. So basically it's a 600-foot long building. It's about 70 feet wide. The footprint on the ground floor is 45,000 square feet. And then our mezzanine around it is about 20,000 square feet. The main fabrication all happens on the first floor. And then upstairs we have clean rooms, offices, break rooms, bathrooms, and stuff like that for our staff. Up here is our project management office and executive's office. So that's where our team works daily to plan and track how projects are going. And then downstairs here's our tool checkout. So if you're going on site and need a specific kit or tool, you can get it in here. We can walk in, it's pretty fun. A lot of like different kits and stuff you can get.
Michael, how large is your staff? And I'm guessing that you've had different size staff depending on the time of the year or what's happening.
Yeah, we pre-COVID we were about 150. Then we dropped to about 60, and now we're back up to about 100. So when you're getting ready to deliver a job, you can come in here and tell the team, oh, hey, I'm going to need these specialty types of tools. And they'll bring that out if you need rigging or things like that. They have all the kits in there. Yeah. On a usual day, there's about 100 people in here. So this place is pretty buzzing. There's probably people packing and wrapping. There's people preparing toolkits to go out on site.
Thank you for coming in on a Sunday.
No worries. I think I'm just thankful that my team doesn't have to work on a Sunday. Some days we are working depending on deadlines.
Right. Does the proximity to New York City, is that being in New York City, is that important for the business that you're in?
It is important for certain clients. Like I said, Nike is a big client. We can be to their store in 20 minutes if anything needs to be checked on or tested. A lot of the times things happen, like someone unplugged something without anyone knowing. So we go back and make sure it's plugged in. It is definitely helpful for our New York work. But like I said, we deliver nationally. I think for us, we want to be in a creative center. We want to have people to have the same like-minded experience for us. And I think New York City has that. There's also, everyone here has a sort of a sense of urgency. And I think that really helps us with our business. A lot of our projects can be quick, fast turnarounds. So having people that understand that and like to problem solve and, find solutions. I think New York is a great place to find people like that.
Yeah. And I mean, would you say also that goes for sort of the skill sets of people that you're able to find to work at Bednark Studio?
Exactly. I think New York attracts a specific type of person, and that's really sort of has helped us grow and bring in the right talent.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because we do compete with companies across the country, so it is challenging for us just because we do have higher rent, and we do have higher living wages and stuff like that. So we do pay people more than say someone in the Midwest would, but it's all relevant. I think we really deliver an excellent product, and it shows, and the people really care putting it together here. You can see these are some products going out to Miami for Balenciaga. So we have created them up. I'm going to be shipping them out. Basically, what I'd like to tell everyone, we sort of start at the end. So this is where everything sort of is at the culmination, gets packed on trucks here in the loading dock and then out. So we'll go, this is our finishing department. So these are, we're doing furniture finishing, we're doing faux finishing in here. We're also doing metal finishing. I was going to show you, there's like, you can sort of see a piece here that's, you know, in process, and then you're seeing a finished polished metal fixture here as well. And then I'll show you in here. This is our millwork finishing team. So these are a bunch of spray finish shelves we're making for Balenciaga. Here I laid out some different wood finishes we're working on. You can see we do anything from like almost a cement finish to cerused oaks to just like dimensional panels. This is a high gloss lacquer spray finish. Oh, wow. This is actually a metal paint that it polishes out. So you spray it on. This is just a piece of wood. You spray it on like that, and then you polish it, and it'll be it has the same properties as metal.
Michael, we can hear you great now, and I'm just wondering if you could tell us the first. We actually could see what you were showing us, but the very first.
Oh, the sculpture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sculpture going in a WeWork, I believe. But we 3D carved it on our CNC machines, which we'll see down here, and then our teams do the hand finishing on it to complete it.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Here's some of those, like what we saw, white shelves. These shelves are getting their silver metallic spray on it. Here's a fixture that mixes metal as well as spray finish on it.
And when did you move into the Brooklyn Navy Yard?
We moved in here October 2019. I think we signed the lease on January 2019. We moved in. So it took a while to get everyone shifted over. We were basically operating 2 shops at the same time, and we'd slowly move some people over. It's our spray booth, which all our spray finishing happens. But yeah, it's hard to like run a business while moving because you still have to meet the delivery deadlines of everything. This is our hardwood processing area. So this is where it's sort of traditional millwork. The pieces are sort of made. So we have sliding table saws, shapers, planers, sanders, edge bander. This is what a traditional millwork shop would have in it. And this is our millwork team. This is where they work out of. So you can see they're assembling some desks here. These will probably have fabric wrapped shelves and integrated LED lighting. This is another display fixture that's a mix of wood and metal and all spray finished to give a cohesive look. So generally during like a Monday through Friday, there's about 30 people working in this department. You can see they're putting together parts for a display, and they're also assembling some different display counters. And then as we make our way down here, it transitions from our millwork or cabinet maker team to our fast fabrication team. The fast fabrication team is what we consider like the jack of all trades for our builders. They can be one day cutting apart a shoe, the next day putting together a cabinet or building a set wall, or they're helping to build light boxes. They sort of do it all. You can see we have all different types of materials. Here's like a recycled regrind material that we're probably integrating into a store fixture. So whereas a traditional mill worker wouldn't work with that, our team down here does that sort of work.
And I just want to remind people who are watching, if you would like to ask any questions, please feel free to drop those into the chat, and we'll be sure to share them with Michael as part of the tour.
Yes, I love conversation and dialogue. You can see one of our fast fab team. They're building some crates right now for a project.
And Michael, I don't know if you're going to talk a little bit about this later, but just how you adapted during COVID. I know that
Oh, yeah.
Beth was involved in some of the PPE.
Yeah. So
work and
when
production.
when COVID did hit, we transitioned our entire workforce over to making face shields. Being in the Navy Yard, like as the city was shutting down, we were sort of as a team being like, what can we do? We were sending all our respirators and masks out to hospitals. But then we realized there was a huge demand and need for face shields. And we were able to connect with the Navy Yard, and they connected us with the Department of Health. And we secured several contracts with them for face shields. We ended up making 2.7 million face shields for the city of New York. And we partnered with DeGaulle, and we worked out of their greenhouse, but we cut all the parts here and then sent them over there for assembly. We went from, complete shutdown to hiring 200 new employees over the weekend and setting up an assembly line. And I think the first week we delivered 100,000 face shields. When going into the project, we thought we'd have to deliver 10,000. We ended up delivering 2.7 million over the course of it. I think that's like sort of how, as a company, that's how we work. We are given a challenge and then we find solutions for it. Generally, our challenges are in wood or for displays or things like that, not a medical product. But just having those sort of bases of like, okay, here's the understanding the problem, finding a solution, and then figuring out how to manufacture it. That's how our team works on a daily basis.
I mean, it must have, it's really, I was just touched to hear the story as that was happening, and just how really impressed at how quickly you guys mobilized around that. But it does sound like the business is set up for project-based problem solving and work. Like
exactly. Everyone like wants to talk about the pivot story with us. I was like, it really wasn't a pivot. It was just like, we just did what we always do and like how we always approach a problem or a challenge. And this time it just had a greater stake, definitely. And we were so excited to do it. And I know our team was really excited. We brought back a lot of our team and kept everyone employed throughout the whole pandemic. Everyone had health insurance through the whole pandemic. It was a really great thing for our staff.
Yeah.
Here we're assembling. This is for a company called Party by Numbers. This is something that came out of the pandemic. It's a catering company that collaborated with a experiential marketing company called The Gathering. And you basically hire this company called Party by Numbers, and they deliver basically what I call like a room service cart that has everything from music speaker with a playlist to cocktails, hors d'oeuvres, dinner, dessert. I think it has table settings and things like that. So you have a full party that gets rolled into your house, and you open it up by numbers and pull out each different part of the night. It's a super cool concept. We've been working with them for like 6 months on it, and it's finally live, and they're having great response to it. It's very cool.
And what is the name of the company again?
It's called Party by Numbers. You can find them on Instagram.
Okay, cool.
It's a collaboration with The Gathering and Pinch Food Design. They're a catering company, and they're sort of, Pinch is founded in that they have very interactive catering experiences for people. So when you, instead of just getting like a buffet table, they have all these cool different things that they bring to your parties.
Yeah, that looks like fun. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, you can see. Here's a drawing of it. Like that's like the full.
Yeah.
And then this is like where we do a lot of acrylic work. So these are 2 acrylic benches that we're going to be sending out to a store in Manhattan. These are actually stand-ins until we get the real ones completed. But this is 1.5 inch acrylic, cut on our CNC and then polished. And then we're making our way into our metal fab department. So they work in all types of metal finishing. We have a lot of big pipe right now. This pipe is going into a sculpture we're building for the Smithsonian.
Michael, is that a market you work with a lot, which is art installation and fabrication?
It's something that we're growing. We've been working with Sushi Ready and ready-made architects on a bunch of work that she's got in the pipeline. So these are like layout tables, and that's where everything that would get welded. You can see there's back here, there's a part for this sculpture for the Smithsonian. These are actually fins that they're welding up fins that will hold big LED video monitors. I think it's like an 18-foot tall sculpture in there.
Wow, that's so incredible.
But you can see what they did is they created on the CNC, they cut jigs that tell them where each panel needs to land, and then they're welding them into that. So like a lot of the team is like, okay, how can I use another department to get something I need in order to make the parts I need? So there's a lot of cross usage of departments. Whereas like if we didn't have a metal team in-house and we didn't have a CNC team in-house, you'd have to call 3 different people, see if they're available, see if they even understand what you're asking them to do. And then like, it just complicates everything. So having everyone here under one roof, we can do a lot of collaboration. And then we can also share in real time with our clients what's going on at any given moment. These are shelving units we fabricated for store coming in. Then we're getting into like where sort of every project starts in the shop. This is our CNC department. So over here, we have 4 CNC router machines. And then over here, we have a water jet. The water jet we use mostly for cutting metal, but we can also cut foam, cut glass, marble. This is basically Mach 4 water. You can cut up to 8 inches of mild steel with this machine. One fun thing about it is that we have a water recirculating tank so that we're not using new water all day long. So it's sort of like a little bit of a trying to be conscious of our environment and not be too wasteful.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know it's the case with, you know, the Brooklyn Navy Yard has so many different sized businesses, but there are a lot of small businesses that collaborate and work together.
Yeah.
In what ways have you at Bednark Studio collaborated with other companies? I know with the PPE, obviously that collaboration with.
Yeah, we collaborate there. I mean, Dugal does some printing for us, like if we need big banners or stuff like that. We also work with National Elevator Cabs, another company here. They fabricate the interiors of elevators. There's a lot of different mill workers in here, as well as set fabrication companies. So if we ever sort of in a bind, we need something, we can always call around and figure out what's going on. I mean, the biggest goal for me, at least, is like to find synergies between companies here. But also everyone's really busy, so it's like trying to figure out, hey, can you cut this for me? And sometimes it just becomes too much work. We try to help everyone, but we haven't quite found. I think the best collaboration so far has been with National Elevator here, but we do work with different companies throughout the yard.
That makes sense.
So these machines are CNC routers. So they basically have a big router head. I think there's like this is a 14 horsepower spindle. And it basically, you tell it what cutter you want it to use. So it's gonna be anywhere from, you know, a super long spiral, up spiral. This would probably be for cutting, this looks like it's cutting like Corian, like solid surface countertops. To like a very fine bit. So this will be spinning at about 14,000 RPMs. And then the spindle goes up and down, will go in and cut the wood and then come up. The smaller the bit, probably because they're trying to get tighter corners on a cut. With the CNC router, everything's sort of rounded. So sometimes we'll have to once we take it off, we'll square off the cuts as well.
And for folks who are new to CNC, that stands for computer numerical controlled machine.
Exactly. So basically, at its simplest form, it's an Illustrator file. It's a flat line that creates a box, and then you tell the machine, to cut on the outside of the line and the inside of the line, and then we'll cut that. But generally everything's done in like DXF files out of AutoCAD or SolidWorks.
It's incredible to think about the number of people and machines you would need before we had the CNC routers.
Oh yeah,
you know?
it's just time, a lot of time, lots of time. I mean, this is 2-inch acrylic. Those benches that we saw, this is what they cut. So basically, instead of running this through a table saw, that would be nearly impossible. They cut all the parts on the CNC, and they also cut that rounded edge. So they sculpted that rounded edge on the CNC versus like a massive router head or hand carving. So like I said, on a daily basis, there would probably be 6 people running these machines, offloading material, putting new material on. And then in this office, they're programming all the cut files. These are parts for that party by numbers project I was telling you about. So you can see there's all different types of cut shapes and things that go into it. These are cork parts that we cut on the CNC. So you can see there's a rounded and then a square cut. And then basically down the center of the shop is where we tech everything up. So everything gets assembled under the mezzanines and then comes into the center here and gets assembled and then makes its way down the shop. Yes, if you were here on Friday, this was a massive build for Heineken that's going to be at South Beach Food and Wine Festival in Miami, I think end of next week. So that was all packed on a truck on Friday and shipped down to Miami. And then we will send 2 leads and then assemble a local crew that will put together all those pieces down in South Beach. And then do we have time? I can go upstairs. Do we have time?
Yeah, we do. It's about, we have about 5 to 10 minutes. We have about 10 minutes left.
Oh yeah, we'll pop upstairs.
Okay, sounds great.
Get up. This is what we call the digital fabrication office. This is where our designers and engineers work. They're doing all the computer drawing and software. This is sort of what we call the flex space. So one day it's a photo studio, one day they're assembling different parts. You can see in here, they're wrapping drawers with fabric. This is our sculpture space. So usually if we're sculpting something, this is where it would get made. This is a project we were doing a test for. So this is actually a 3D printed. It's one of the gargoyles from the Chrysler building.
Oh, I love that.
So we were doing that. And this is 3D printed on our 3D printer that's over here. We've been trying to use 3D printing over foam sculpture. Traditionally, everything was sculpted out of foam and then hard coated. Just the foam is just so terrible for the environment and gives off noxious gases when you're carving it. So we brought this 3D printer. You can see the different things we printed with it. We're trying to replace the foam sculpting from our process. So this printer can do 4 foot wide, 5 foot deep, and 6 foot tall.
Wow.
And then we have a 7-axis robot, basically a vertical mill. This vertical mill is basically a turntable that you can put anything on and carve or cut. We're still working it into our flow and our process. But we have, we're excited to get it fully into our process. There's a couple sculpture things coming down the line that we think we'll use it for. This is a great shot of the whole shop. I should have put my office here. It's more fun. But yeah, you can sort of see the full length. We actually had someone come in and look at all these cranes to see if we could get them running. But he basically said he could put a brand new crane in for cheaper than getting any of these cranes actually working. I think most of the precious metals or any of like metals that were in it were all stripped.
Right. And for folks who are watching, I mean, we can see the crane up above, and that would move laterally across the
Yeah.
inside of the space. Were you drawn? Did you know that you wanted to be in the Brooklyn Navy Yard, or what was it that drew you to this particular space and
I mean,
place?
I love the history. It's an amazing building. I mean, so I started in New York. I came to New York 2001, graduated 2005 from NYU. And then when I was living in Brooklyn, I always knew about the Navy Yard and knew it was a cool place. I mean, but I remember when these buildings were literally just rusted out hunks. There was nothing like this here. And I was always drawn to it. It's a beautiful campus-like setting. Once you're here, it's very secure. You can go walk out and sit in like a grassy area and have lunch. Prior to this, we were out in Bushwick on like a way forgotten industrial area that just the building was falling apart and in decay. And moving here, it was just such a nice relief. And it's a great place to work. And knowing that we have such a fine facility, we hope that attracts better talent, more talent to come want to work with us. So it's an inspiring place to come to every day, knowing the history and just having all the different companies around you that challenge you and try to make you and want to make you better. That's an awesome thing to have. So we'll just walk down there. We'll go by the printing department. We'll wrap it up at print.
Sounds good. Are there any, just thinking back within about the history of your company, were there any kind of big breakout moments or projects that you weren't sure how you would actually achieve them?
I think what makes me a good business owner is that I'm never happy with anything. I know it could always be better. So, I mean, good breakout moments. I mean, even the small wins. I think people ask me this question. They do ask me like, what's the thing that's made you the most happy or the most excited? And I think for me, it's really about building an amazing company with amazing people. That's been my greatest success. Yes, we do build amazing things, but having people come together and solve extremely challenging projects is probably the most rewarding thing. To see them all have that sense of accomplishment at the end of the day is amazing. I think that's what really gets me excited about the work that we do. It's the people and how they work together and how they come together to make amazing things for our clients.
Right. And if people work really well together and are proud of what they're achieving, then you get these amazing results, right? So
exactly, yeah, exactly. So no, it's exciting. I mean, I like putting people together and having them, and then they find the solutions. I mean, I think when I first started out, I was sort of a pace setter, and I was like out there. I was like, when it was like me and 4 people, it was like I'd estimate it and build the job and install the job. But as you get bigger, you can't do that. So you need to find amazing people to work together. And it's one of those things like you need to give people the space to go out and make the choices that they need to make. And sometimes they're going to be the right choices, sometimes they're not going to be the right choices. But if you make the choices for them all day long, then they never know how to make the right choices or never have a history of how to make the right choices. So we're trying to do that to develop team players here and let people go out and see how it goes and what happens, and look from afar so that they can grow as a person and have those experiences that help them to excel in their job.
Sure.
If that makes any sense.
It does.
And then, this is our printing department. It's one of the more fun areas in the shop. But we do a lot of like cut vinyls, wall wraps. We have a large 5x10 direct to surface printer. So we can print on glass, plywood, metal, sort of any medium that's like a hard surface versus a vinyl printer that you're basically printing on something so you can wrap it.
And do your clients often come to meet with you at Bednark?
Yes, for sure. I mean, like when we were talking earlier, it's like the location close to New York City. I mean, there's so many amazing design firms, architects, just designers, set designers, and brands in New York City. having the ability to come and see what's getting made for them within a 10 or 15-minute ride on the subway or in a car, I think adds an extreme amount of value. Whereas a lot of people, like, either you're getting stuff made overseas or you're getting stuff made in the Midwest, and it's a whole couple days of travel time. Here, you can come here very quickly, see what's going on. You can also work with us in prototyping and figuring out what you like. And I just like clients to come here and see what we're working on, so they can get inspired for, oh, hey, you guys can do that, or whoa, what's going on there? There's like, just coming here and seeing what's going on a daily basis, I think is like a huge value for our clients. Here's some, I don't know. Yeah, like this is, I don't know, this is our most recent addition, but a large, the vacuum table, and then you can print on different surfaces. You can see, like that's it, direct printing on mirror with a logo. But with like printing on glass and acrylic, you can get amazing depth by printing first surface and second surface on it. So you can have like a push and pull. That's one of the nice things about that machine.
Well, Michael,
here, are we wrapping? This is like direct to surface print on plywood.
oh, this is really interesting. Can we get a closer view?
Yeah. So this would, like, traditionally you'd probably do either a screen printing process with several different screens on top of this. But this is just, this machine can print, I think, 100 4x8s an hour if you're in like heavy production. And then there's actually this one. This is on acrylic. But traditionally, how we would have done this is a silk screen. But this is actually done with a DTS printer.
And if possible, could you kind of tip it? There we go, and then tip it back a little bit. We're seeing Andrew. Oh, there, wait, tip it down. Just a little bit more. There, right there. Okay. Yeah, we can see this perfectly now.
This was part of a custom box that we gave. Like, we did a couple hundred of those for Hennessy. How are we on time?
Yeah, so we're pretty much at
up.
time, unless there's any other last minute questions from our audience.
You can get the money shot here.
Yeah. Oh,
well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us, and thank you to New York City by Design for involving us in this, and you in Interior Design Day. We're just so happy that we were able to feature the many different projects that you've worked on over the last several years. Sure. And also it was just so interesting getting a tour of your space and just getting a sense of the breadth of your work. And I'd also like to just thank you for all that you did, you and your team, over this past year to help our healthcare workers feel more protected, and with the face shields. And yeah, so thank you, Michael. If there's any
thank you guys.
Words.
Yeah, I don't know. If you want to check out more of our work, it's www.builtbybednark.com or at Bednark Studio on Instagram.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Will do.
All right, take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. And thanks, everyone. And I'm going to add my spotlight here. Hi, everyone. And Andrew, is there anything that you would like to share before we sign out?
No, I just want to thank everybody so much for joining us today. And thanks again to Michael, and also to our partners at the Brooklyn Navy Yard Development Corporation, who helped make today's thing possible. Well, thanks so much, Cindy and Amanda, for your help today. Thank you to Michael, and thanks, everybody.